So, welcome back to School Night Part 2 video. I already went through the presentation that gives you a little bit more about me, as well as a bit of our curriculum overview for each subject. And as promised, what I wanted to do was go over just a little bit of the technical things that make the virtual space possible and how you can support your child during this time. And then if we return back to a physical space, since it will likely be in a blended platform in any case, I would like to go over some of the things that might be helpful there. Well, first of all, most of you are familiar with the fact that we are using Google Classroom as our base, as our classroom platform base. Okay. And so when students do sign on to Google and they, just log into their Chromebook, in most cases, this waffle right here will appear. Okay. And because their Chromebook already signs in with their credentials, they should already have access to some of their favorites. And if not, they go to their waffle and boom, you've got Drive there. They've got Play and some other things. And so for me, my classroom app is here and they go ahead to their classes. And for those who have me for block one, they know right away. They meet with me in block one, those who have me for homeroom and so on. So it just so happens to be all the classrooms that I'm a part of, either as a teacher or as a student in the class. And so I just want to run through just accessing the meets. And I'll use my first block one's platform. Now, when you notice, you'll see the class code is there and then the meeting link is right underneath. And this is the way that most students access the meeting link. And what's great about it is it shows them, oh, due Saturday to this date, this is what's due then, and then other things that are due in the upcoming times. Now, I see it in a different view. I see who's turned it in, who hasn't turned it in, but in their view, they'll be able to see when things are due. So the stream will show everything, every single announcement I make, everything I assign, everything that I post. It's kind of like your table of contents, if you will. And so when your child is going through Google Classroom and they're saying, oh, wait, hold on, I didn't know that that was assigned. I wasn't sure. I didn't see it. No, it's on the stream. Okay. But more specifically would be the classwork portion or tab. Now, what I do for each of my classes is I break it down by week. And then I also have a section for class meeting recordings that for some reason are having a really hard time uploading. I've recorded a lot of my lessons, but it's having a really hard time uploading. I know Google is going through some updates. Then the class procedures, general materials. Now, this is important because this is where you as a parent can find things like, oh, what are some of the procedures in Ms. Conte's classroom? What are grade equivalents? What does it mean by turning an assignment for partial credit? So that's all in our Welcome to Our Learning community. It's a slideshow that I made, a Pear Deck activity for students, but it goes through exactly those first days, or actually our first day of school activities, which mentioned a bit in more detail about our learning norms and what we do, what you're responsible for, students' responsibilities. That day we actually took a break and did some exercises and the materials and supplies that they need, what a correction essay is, the standards and work requirements that are required there. So it really goes into detail about that. And then we had some virtual inserts of those first days of school, things for their notebook, another slideshow that went into more detail about resources and things that they could use. A big one, the correction essay criteria is here. So this class general procedures and guidelines is a place where students can get a lot of information. But then each week, the week's assignments are broken down. And what I started doing just last week is putting the days of the week. So the general math warm up for the whole week is there. Oh, here's my class meeting from one day. And then I have, the dates of things that are assigned and when they are assigned. So for example, today is Tuesday the 29th. These were the two tasks that they had to do. And then come Wednesday, students will see another set of assignments. Okay, so that's Google Classroom in a nutshell. And mostly the assignments that are assigned oftentimes will show me who's turned it in, who is it still assigned to and hasn't turned it in, which I won't open for case of privacy. But moving forward, okay, so AMS students, what do they use most frequently? They will be using an online textbook for just about everything. We're going to finish up the sixth grade Go Math materials, but by and large, most of the time, students are going to be using this PDF file, which I've had a few different places where I put it. Oh, okay, let me see. It's around the ebook link. Okay, so here we go. So what will happen is in the classroom resources, I will put the ebook link, and I also have a PDF file version of the book. And notice you go to the table of contents, it shows you what the questions are for each particular investigation. And even though I do create Google Documents of the work so that students can then actually put the work on, here is a copy of the ebook. Oh, real life, my dog is barking. The next thing that I want to talk about is just some of the platforms that we use. So MobyMax is one that students should still have access to. Their username and password is the generic username and password that it's been for the past, I don't even know how long. But the username is their student ID number. So their lunch code, their student ID number that they've been given to since they entered Teaneck Public Schools. And the password is learn123. MobyMax is a great, great, great resource because it is adaptive to students. So when students are getting something correct in an area, they will give them gradually more increasing levels of difficulties. They go to fill in the gap, but then I also can assign things in there. So that is MobyMax. I'm not gonna bother opening up the app, but you can see it there. In addition to MobyMax, from time to time, I will use Khan Academy. So Khan Academy, what's good about Khan Academy is once students are in, there isn't much username and password information that they need to set up, but Khan Academy also has videos and questions and different things that students can, in fact, um, you know, have access to and use. And it is free, even though here they're asking for a donation. So Khan Academy, MobyMax for math, and that is AMS basically in a nutshell. Most of the resources and things will come in Google Classroom. So most of the use of apps, whether that be quizzes, and quizzes happens to be an application I use in all of the subjects. So quizzes is an app that it's pretty fun because what students get to do is I will make questions and they get to work in kind of like a game mode of an atmosphere and answer those questions. Now, this is my quizzes app, so I'm trying to get to maybe a quizzes game that they had to do today. So let's just go ahead. I may not be part of this Google Classroom, may not let me show you exactly how quizzes works, but in a nutshell, it has questions that appear. It's very gamified. Students can see a leaderboard, but they are only seeing what's in their own screen and they can answer it really at their own pace most of the time, the way I make the assignments. So that's quizzes. And let's see, moving forward on to Go Math or Math 6. Okay, so Math 6. The resources are pretty much the same. Again, getting to Google Classroom is the same, except for they would obviously look for their Math Block 2 classroom, and the meeting link is there. A lot of times the classwork that is assigned for Math 6 is going to be classwork that's in their Go Math book, because currently right now there's something funky going on with the web portion or the online portion of Go Math. So a lot of what I will assign for students will be documents that I've virtually created based off of the content in the book. So a lot of pair decks, maybe an ed puzzle or two. So, but the structure of it pretty much the same. It's set up this way. MobyMax is something else that will be used. You'll see that in the stream up here at the top. So students, again, using MobyMax to log in. And if they have to say, I don't have any homework, make sure they access MobyMax. They can always, always, always do the fluency builder in MobyMax. There are different games and activities that they can earn, but in addition to that, they also are able to, let me to my mathematics. Just again, work on things that even if I haven't assigned them things, they can go ahead and get to working on different assignments and things of that sort. Okay. All right. I'm trying to think of what else, what other applications did I want to go over really quickly. I'm going to check my other slideshow. Oh, okay. So Edpuzzle. Edpuzzle is an application that students view video content. And I think my Edpuzzle link today, for some reason, again, technical things might not be working the way it should. But that I don't know if it's important and necessary that you need to necessarily see. But what's great is with this application, I can assign students video content to view, and they have to respond to questions with embedded within that video content. 1 minute. Okay, and so, all right, that's Edpuzzle. And I think I've covered a good majority of the applications and things that we use. Pear Deck, Khan Academy, Edpuzzle. Oh, Connected Ed. Okay, so social studies, social studies. All right, so let me get to one of my social studies classes. The main resource, I shouldn't say main one of the more consistent ones, because I really search for my own resources oftentimes. So I'll be between, National Geographic, Discovery Education, other different things. I will look for resources that give a broader scope and a different lens of historical accounts. But your child will have access to an online textbook that comes from this website base that they should save to their favorites or pin it, even if they're not using the TNET Schools device, because the access to it and their passwords, their username and passwords are very unique to them. So I don't want to show any particular student's username and login, but they all have access to their username and login via this spreadsheet here. And so once they go to the site, they go ahead and log in. For me, my settings are already there. Their password is not unique. It's social 2021. Passwords are all social 2021, but their username is a combination of their first name and last name. Here's our textbook. And so what happens is in the digital form, they have to use the drop-down menu to look at the different chapters. So if we're studying chapter 15, they still also have to do another drop-down to talk about, okay, is it the chapter opener we're looking at? And we press go. Is it lesson 1? But once they're there, the beautiful thing is the textbook reads it to them. If they want to go ahead and just have it read to them,
around
that's absolutely fine. If they want to read it, the text is there. And then there's questions and always activities in the R page, resource page that they can do. So you know that there's a quiz or a test coming up and your child says, I've already studied. Tell them, okay, go ahead and do the self-check quiz. That's there. Oh, you did that already? Go ahead and do the identification game. So again, these are just some tips and tricks for you to support your child in the virtual space. And I hope that was helpful, and I hope I covered just about everything. All right, thanks.